Am I the a-hole for not telling my adoptive son I'm really his half-sister? Me, 28F. My husband, Dave, 29. My mom, Louise, 45. My son, Frankie, 5. My parents were both born in 1974 and I was born in 1992. As you can guess, there were 17/18 when I was born. My mom refused an abortion but was adamant she would have nothing to do with me, so she bailed literally the day I was born. As soon as she knew I was okay, she managed to get herself discharged and vanished, and I guess relinquishing her parental rights. My dad was shocked as he was only 17 at the time, but he loved from the start and he managed to give me an awesome childhood. I didn't have anything to do with Louise tbh. She would come and go every few years, getting my hopes up to see her and bailing when shit got real. I also later learned she was addicted to drugs and begged my dad for money, so my image of her was not a good one. She got clean when I was about 22 and I decided to give her a chance. Things were great for a while, but I realized she was treating me more as a friend than a daughter and I got really bad with my mental health and she bailed again. I decided that was my last straw and cut her off. All was fine until she turned up in early 2015 heavily pregnant. I was shocked because, not being rude, she was approaching 41 and she didn't seem to have her life together, in that I didn't think she was motherly at all. She confirmed that the pregnancy was a mistake and was considering giving him up. I was already married and despite only being 23, I offered to adopt the baby as he was family anyway. Louise was fine with this. She gave birth and Dave and I officially adopted him as our son. Louise bailed once again and we never saw her. Louise has recently come into the picture and she seems to be a changed woman. She talked to me through my dad and he confirmed she fell back on drugs but has gone to rehab, is in a stable job now and a good relationship. I said that was great to hear, but why does this involve me? I learned that she wants Frankie to be in her life and me as she misses her kids. I wasn't impressed but I agreed to meet her myself to see what she had to say. She seemed genuinely remorseful and acknowledged her mistakes. She then asked me how I was doing as an older sister and I corrected her by saying I'm a mom. She got really angry and said I had no right to make Frankie think I was his mom and Dave as his dad. I reminded her that she relinquished her rights to both me and him and she has no right to tell me how to parent. I also said he knows me and my husband as his parents, my dad as his grandpa, and that if I've mentioned her briefly, he thinks she is his grandma. She called me an a-hole and has called me one repeatedly. Dave and my dad think Louise is crazy, but I wonder if maybe I should tell Frankie the truth. IDK, he's my son to me. I should add I haven't talked to my mom since this and blocked her after her a-hole comments. I feel I need to make it very clear I will tell him the truth one day. I just didn't think it would be now cause he's only 5. Update. I get I should tell him and I've made it clear that I will, but Jesus, some of you are ruthless in demanding me to tell him as soon as possible, and JFC I'm trying. You're not the a-hole, but dude, you need to make a plan for telling him the truth because this woman is 100% going to find a way to do so eventually, whether you cut her out of your life or not. You do not want him finding out from her, especially if she's feeling spiteful about being blocked from his life. I would speak to her family counselor about the best way to handle this. I plan on telling him one day. You're not the a-hole. You probably should tell him the truth at some point. Not an expert here, but your bio mom is an a-hole for sure. It's great if she changed, but really, how dare she act like all you're being to Frankie is an older sister? You are that child's mother and you've played that role all his life. I also think if she truly changed, she wouldn't still be treating you like she is. Of course, Frankie is an awesome kid and I'll tell him the truth one day. My only argument for this judgment is that he's 5 and IDK if that's the right age to tell him. You're not the a-hole at all. You're right. Your mom relinquished her rights and abandoned you both, so she's not the mother. You are Frankie's mother and I think you were very generous to even meet with Louise. I would say it isn't worth trying to see her again. OP, being Frankie's mother has nothing to do with her not telling him that he's adopted. Just because Louise was a bad mom doesn't mean Frankie should not know the truth. You're not the a-hole. Not for the rest of it, but it's really never cool to hide from an adopted child that they are adopted. He's going to find out one day. Someone will slip. Your bio mom will get mad and email him. He'll do one of those DNA tester, whatever. You won't be able to hide it forever. It will be much more traumatizing if it's later and he realizes the people who he was supposed to rely on the most have been lying to him his entire life. You're not the a-hole. My father had a mother very similar to yours and was in the foster care system, and I saw the effects of that long into my own adolescence. I wish someone had protected him from his mother. You're doing the right thing with your son. You should tell him soon, but you shouldn't be pressured by someone else into doing so. You're his parents. It's your choice. Edit. Just wanted to add something. I do think you should tell him soon. You don't need to tell him about drugs, or necessarily the whole truth. He's a kid, as you said. Just be gentle with it. My grandmother, who adopted her children, told her son that his birth mother couldn't take care of him, so she chose to be his mother and give him all the love and support in the world. You sound like a good parent. ESH. You're the a-hole for hiding his adoption status and not following best practices for the well-being of your son. People are posting easy to locate resources about how to best handle explaining adoption. You took on being a mother to this child and you're probably an excellent mother. Being an adoptive mother does not make you any less his mom, but hiding his adoption status is an a-hole move. Kids ask where babies come from, and it is not impossible to explain how there are lots of different ways a family is made. You have a difficult situation here, but it is one you must overcome for your son. Louise is an unrepentant a-hole, and the fact that she is still popping in and out attempting to dictate your life when it is convenient for her is unacceptable. I would suggest minimizing your contact with her. She has no right to be in your lives and has proven herself to be controlling and unstable. You don't want your son to experience the same anguish you did of having her in and out of your life. There was another post on here of a man who raised his younger brother as his son and hadn't told him yet. The kid was 13, I think, and it ended up going okay, but he was understandably upset about not being told, being lied to. OP. All experts recommend being honest with adopted kids from a young age. You don't have to get complicated with it, and should use age-appropriate terms, but you need to be honest. If you keep saying someday your kiddo is going to end up finding out some other way and it will be bad, you're not the a-hole yet, but don't screw this up. You're not the a-hole. You can tell your son on your own time when you're ready, not when it suits your mom who bailed out. You did a good thing, OP, and have every right to stand your ground. I've always planned on telling him. You're not the a-hole. For now. Eventually, you are going to have to tell him. If you don't, it will come out anyway and he will be incredibly hurt that you kept it from him. But you're his mom and will know the time and place for that. Having known people in similar situations, I would say avoid waiting until he is too old to feel betrayed or that his life is built on lies. But the 5th of may also be too young for him to fully understand. Again, you know your son best. As to Louise's insistence that you raise him as a sister, this is totally off base. You are his mom the same way any adoptive mom is a mom. Louise has never been a mom, so don't take advice on mothering from her. Very gentle, you're the a-hole. This woman is wrong by saying you're not his mother. You absolutely are. But if you make this into a big deal, it will have a huge impact on your son. And I think that keeping it secret is definitely making it into a big deal. Does he at least know he's adopted? I think you should see a children's therapist and come up with a plan for how to tell him, because the best thing to do is make this normal for him. You're still his mom. Telling him you two technically have the same mother doesn't change that, but you need tell him, and soon. Both of my kids are adopted and we always told them they were. It isn't tough for kids to know when something kept secret feels like it is something shameful. You're the a-hole. Adoptive parent here. Adopted children should always be told they're adopted, right from the start. Growing up believing one reality and then having the rug pulled out from under you is shocking, and a lot of people don't forgive their adoptive parents. Frankie should have been told ages ago. Yes, you are mom and dad, but he has the right to know his biological origin, and keeping that from him is going to lead to all kinds of issues down the road for him and for his relationship with you.